Today, I am broken, not tired, not defeated by business, not crushed by failure. I am broken because you rejected me. People look at me and see strength. They see ambition, innovation, confidence, power. They see rockets touching the sky and companies changing the world. But no one sees the silent war happening inside my chest. No one hears the echo of your absence in my thoughts. No one understands that even the strongest mind can collapse when the heart feels unwanted. Rejection doesn't arrive like a storm. It arrives like silence, a pause, a look that says, "You're not the one." And that single moment can rewrite your entire reality. I replayed your words again and again, not because I wanted pain, but because my heart was searching for a different meaning, a hidden hope, a crack in the rejection. But there was none. Your decision was clear. Your heart had already closed its door. I kept asking myself, was I not enough? Was my love too intense? Was my dream too big for your world? Was my heart too honest for your comfort? You see, rejection doesn't just reject love. It rejects identity. It makes you question your worth, your value, your existence. It shakes your confidence in ways no failure ever could. Losing money hurts. Losing reputation hurts. But losing someone you emotionally invested your future into, that pain has no language. That night, the world kept moving. Cars passed, lights flickered, people laughed. But inside me, everything stood still. My mind was loud, but my soul was empty. I realized something terrifying. You can be surrounded by success and still feel completely alone. I wanted to message you, call you, explain myself, fight for one more chance. But dignity whispered, "Let her go," and my heart screamed, "Don't." This is the battle no one talks about. The war between self-respect and emotional attachment. I wasn't angry at you. I was angry at hope. Hope promised me a future that never existed. Hope painted dreams that were never meant to come true. And now I was left cleaning the ruins of expectations. Today I learned that rejection doesn't mean you are weak. It means you were brave enough to love, and loving deeply always comes with risk. But knowing this doesn't erase the pain, it only explains it. I am broken today. After rejection, silence becomes your loudest enemy. Your phone stays quiet. Your heart doesn't. Every memory suddenly becomes a weapon. Your smile, your voice, the way you once listened, the dreams we almost built together. My mind replays moments like a movie I can't pause, and every replay stabs deeper. Sleep disappears, appetite fades, motivation weakens, you start functioning on autopilot while your soul bleeds quietly. People ask, "Are you okay?" And you say, "Yes," because explaining pain requires energy you no longer have. The worst part of rejection is not losing someone, it's losing the version of yourself that existed when you believed in that love. I was softer, more hopeful, more emotionally open. Now I feel guarded, careful, hesitant to trust. Rejection teaches you how vulnerable you truly are. I walked alone that night under city lights, realizing how small humans are in such a massive universe, yet how heavy emotions feel inside a tiny heart. I build machines that touch space, but I couldn't fix a broken emotion. I asked myself again, why does love have the power to elevate and destroy in the same breath? Why does attachment feel beautiful before it becomes unbearable? Why do hearts remember pain more than joy? Maybe rejection is nature's way of teaching emotional maturity. Maybe it trains us to detach from illusions and strengthen inner stability. But in the moment, wisdom doesn't comfort you. Only time does. I didn't cry loudly. I didn't collapse dramatically. My pain was quiet, the kind that settles into your bones and stays there. The kind that follows you into meetings, conversations, success, laughter, reminding you that something inside remains unresolved. But somewhere inside the pain, a realization slowly formed. If rejection can break me, it can also rebuild me differently. Pain has intelligence. It reshapes priorities. It filters illusions. It strengthens boundaries. It forces growth whether you like it or not. Still, tonight I am broken. Healing hasn't started yet. Acceptance hasn't arrived yet. Only pain is honest right now. Days passed. The pain didn't disappear, but it changed shape. It became quieter, heavier, deeper, like an old scar that still aches during storms. I stopped blaming myself. I stopped rewriting the past. I stopped searching for what-ifs, because no answer could change what already happened. Closure isn't something others give you, it's something you create inside yourself. I began redirecting the emotional energy into discipline, work, learning, building, growth, not as escape but as evolution, because if pain visits your life, you can either let it destroy you or let it upgrade you. Rejection forced me to confront my emotional dependence. I realized I had attached too much of my happiness to one person. That's dangerous. Love should add to your life, not become the only source of meaning. I learned to sit alone without feeling empty. I learned to enjoy silence without fear. I learned to respect emotional boundaries. I learned that self-worth cannot be outsourced to someone else's acceptance. Slowly, confidence returned. Not the loud ego confidence, but the calm inner stability that doesn't beg for validation. And one morning I woke up realizing something powerful. I survived what I thought would destroy me. Pain didn't kill me. Rejection didn't end me. Heartbreak didn't erase me. It refined me. Today, when I say I was broken, I don't say it with shame. I say it with gratitude. Because broken seasons build unbreakable futures. Rejection taught me emotional intelligence. It taught me patience. It taught me self-respect. It taught me that not everyone meant for your heart is meant for your destiny. Sometimes love leaves not because you're unworthy, but because your path requires solitude for growth. If you're listening to this and you've been rejected, know this: your pain is valid, your tears are human, your healing will arrive. Don't rush recovery, don't suppress emotions, don't blame yourself endlessly, feel it fully, then rise stronger. One day you'll look back and realize the rejection saved you from a future that wasn't aligned with your evolution. I was broken, but broken things can be rebuilt into something stronger, wiser, unstoppable, and so can you. Today, something inside me collapsed quietly. No explosion, no noise, just a deep internal fracture that nobody else could hear. I smiled in front of people, answered emails, discussed projects, made decisions, yet inside my heart felt like it was standing in the ruins of a dream that never got permission to live. You rejected me. Such a small sentence, yet such a massive impact. Rejection is not loud. It doesn't scream or fight. It simply closes a door while you're still standing outside with flowers in your hand and hope in your eyes. I've faced failures that made headlines. Rockets exploding, deadlines missed, critics laughing, financial risk that could destroy entire empires. None of those shook me like this single emotional sentence did. Because business failure attacks your mind, rejection attacks your identity. I kept replaying your expression, your tone, your pause before answering. My brain analyzed every microsecond, like a machine searching for a loophole. Maybe you hesitated because you cared. Maybe you were confused. Maybe timing was wrong. Maybe I should have said something differently. Maybe I revealed too much too fast. Maybe my intensity scared you. Maybe my dreams felt too heavy for your comfort. Hope is cruel when it refuses to die. The hardest part of rejection is accepting that someone you deeply wanted in your future never wanted the same future with you. It forces you to grieve something that technically never existed, yet emotionally felt real. That night, I sat alone in silence while the city breathed around me. Lights flickered like distant stars. Traffic hummed like artificial oceans. Millions of lives moving forward while mine paused at a single emotional checkpoint. I realized how fragile human hearts are compared to the giant worlds we build outside. We build skyscrapers, satellite systems, but we still cannot engineer emotional certainty. I wasn't angry at you, I respected your honesty. What broke me was the realization that love cannot be negotiated. You cannot convince a heart to feel something it doesn't feel. You cannot argue desire into existence. You cannot force alignment. Love is either mutual or it becomes suffering. And tonight, suffering found me. I tried distracting myself with work, numbers blurred, Screens glowed, notifications rang, but nothing could silence the echo of your absence. Emotional pain doesn't respond to logic, it demands to be felt. I asked myself the uncomfortable questions. Am I difficult to love? Do my ambitions make me emotionally unavailable? Do people see me as intimidating rather than comforting? Do my dreams leave no space for softness? Rejection exposes insecurities you didn't know were hiding inside you. For the first time in a long time, I felt emotionally naked. No armor, no strategies, no control, just vulnerability standing under emotional rain. I am broken today, not weak, not defeated, just human. After rejection, the mind becomes a dangerous place. Thoughts multiply like shadows. Memories turn into emotional weapons. Every laugh becomes suspicious. Every quiet moment becomes heavy. Silence grows louder than conversation. Attachment is beautiful until it becomes dependency. I realized how subtly my happiness had started orbiting your presence. Your messages regulated my mood. Your voice stabilized my energy. Your attention validated my existence. Without noticing, I had handed emotional power to another human being. That is a dangerous transaction. When the source disappears, the system collapses. Your brain enters withdrawal like an addiction. Dopamine crashes. Motivation sinks. Appetite fades. Sleep fragments. You become functional but hollow. Existing but not alive. People misunderstand heartbreak. They think it's sadness. No, it's identity confusion. You lose the version of yourself that existed in that emotional connection. You don't just miss the person, you miss who you were with them. I caught myself opening old conversations, rereading words that once felt warm and now felt sharp. I listened to voice notes like a desperate archaeologist trying to revive a dead civilization. Why do humans torture themselves with memory? Because familiarity feels safer than uncertainty. Even pain feels comfortable when it's known. I began analyzing my attachment patterns. I realized I had confused emotional intensity with emotional security. I had mistaken passion for compatibility. I had projected future narratives onto limited present evidence. Love blinded my objectivity. Rejection shattered the illusion. I walked alone late at night, letting cold air shock my nervous system into awareness. The city felt indifferent to my suffering. The universe did not pause for heartbreak. Stars didn't dim. Time didn't slow. Only my inner world was collapsing. That realization was both painful and grounding. Your pain matters deeply to you, but the world keeps moving. That means healing is your responsibility. I stopped blaming fate. I stopped blaming timing. I stopped blaming myself excessively. Blame doesn't heal, awareness does. Still, the ache remained. Still, the empty space followed me like a shadow. Still, nights felt longer than days. Rejection humbles even the strongest minds. Pain is raw energy. It can destroy or it can transform, depending on how consciously you use it. I decided not to numb myself, not to escape, not to bury emotions under distractions. I sat with the discomfort. I allowed the grief to breathe. I listened to what the pain was teaching instead of trying to silence it. Pain taught me boundaries. Pain taught me self-validation. Pain taught me emotional independence. Pain taught me discernment. I realized I had romanticized sacrifice. I had glorified emotional overinvestment. I believed loving harder meant loving better. But love without balance becomes self-erasure. True love doesn't require shrinking yourself. True love doesn't demand constant proving. True love doesn't drain your identity. Rejection forced me to rebuild self-respect. I redirected emotional intensity into growth, training my mind, strengthening discipline, refining focus, rebuilding routines, reconnecting with purpose, not as escape, but as self-optimization. Slowly the fog lifted, energy returned, confidence stabilized, emotional clarity sharpened. One day I noticed something subtle but powerful. I thought about you less. The pain arrived less aggressively. The emotional charge softened. Healing isn't dramatic, it's quiet consistency. I stopped needing closure from you because I created closure within myself. I accepted that some connections are chapters, not destinies. Some people activate growth, not permanence. And that is okay. Today, when I look back at that broken version of myself, I don't feel shame. I feel respect. He loved sincerely. He risked vulnerability. He dared to hope. That takes courage in a world that rewards emotional armor. Rejection didn't destroy me. It upgraded my emotional intelligence. I now choose alignment over attachment. I choose peace over chasing. I choose growth over comfort. I choose self-respect over validation. Love will return, but this time with wisdom, boundaries, clarity, mutuality. If you are listening to this while carrying rejection in your chest, remember, this pain is temporary. This lesson is permanent. This growth is priceless. Your heart is not broken beyond repair. It is being reforged into strength. I was broken. Now I am becoming unstoppable. Before the heart broke, something else shattered quietly. My ego. Not the loud arrogance people see on the surface, but the deep inner belief that effort guarantees outcome, that sincerity guarantees acceptance, that ambition guarantees admiration. Rejection destroyed that illusion in seconds. I had always believed that if you show up fully, if you commit honestly, if you offer loyalty and vision and protection, love naturally follows. But love is not a contract. It has no rules. It doesn't reward logic. It doesn't obey fairness. It moves mysteriously, often irrationally, often beyond explanation. Your rejection humbled me in a way no public failure ever could. Because business failure teaches strategy. Emotional rejection teaches humility. I realized that even brilliance cannot command affection. Even success cannot manufacture attraction. Even loyalty cannot guarantee reciprocity. The heart chooses freely, and sometimes painfully. The silence after rejection was not empty. It was confrontational. It forced me to sit with my own expectations. I discovered how much I had attached my identity to being admired, wanted, emotionally chosen. When that selection didn't happen, my self-image trembled. Why did I need approval so deeply? Why did external validation matter so much? Why did being desired feel like proof of worth? These were uncomfortable truths. But growth always begins with discomfort. I saw how society programs us to chase validation, likes, applause, attraction, recognition. We confuse attention with connection. We confuse admiration with intimacy. And when those illusions collapse, we feel emotionally bankrupt. Your rejection didn't mean I was unworthy. It meant my self-worth system was flawed. I began rebuilding from that realization. I learned to detach my value from outcomes. I learned to respect myself independent of acceptance. I learned to measure worth by integrity rather than approval. Still, the emotional wound remained. Healing doesn't erase memory, it reshapes meaning. Strength does not announce itself. It arrives quietly, subtly, like dawn replacing darkness without noise. I stopped needing emotional confirmation. I stopped searching for signals from the past. I stopped reopening emotional doors that had already closed. Instead, I redirected attention inward. I refined discipline. I strengthened emotional boundaries. I improved mental resilience. I restored self-trust. Pain sharpened my awareness. I became more selective with energy, more intentional with connections, more honest with myself. I learned that not every emotional connection deserves permanent access to your heart. Some people are lessons, not lifelines. I also learned forgiveness, not for them but for myself. Forgiving myself for emotional naivety, forgiving myself for attachment, forgiving myself for idealizing too much too fast. Self-compassion is the bridge between pain and power. One evening I realized something profound. I no longer felt broken. I felt expanded. The wound had transformed into wisdom. The ache had matured into clarity. The rejection had evolved into self-mastery. And that is the true victory. If you're walking through rejection right now, understand this. You are not collapsing. You are recalibrating. You are not losing. You are upgrading. You are not weak. You are awakening. Broken seasons build powerful souls. And you are becoming stronger than you ever imagined.